Hello, I am Adrian Atkinson welcoming you to this Easter Sunday edition of Jamaica Magazine. Coming up, get the facts on what it takes to be a successful farmer from one who should know best. On the flip side of the page, Round the Bend takes you on a tour through wonderful Westmoreland. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Last week on Get the Facts, we walked you through the steps of backyard gardening. That's like a test run for the wider field. I do hope you were taking notes or at least tried out a few things, because this week we're hearing what it takes to be an actual farmer and be successful at it. Watch this.
Welcome to Get the Facts. This is the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm Theodore Henry. When you hear the word farmer, what comes to mind? Well, these hardworking men and women represent many things, such as the hands that feed us, the backbone of our country's food security, and the list goes on. It's not an easy profession, but it's a very important one. And their dedication and love for what they do give them the energy and the drive to go on each day. Lawrence Lynch, a successful farmer from St. Thomas, knows this all too well, and he joins me on set to share his journey with us. Welcome to the program, Mr. Lynch.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
All right, let's jump right into getting the facts. Now, I understand that you didn't always want to be a farmer. You had an interest.
Otherwise, interest. I never knew that, coming into the, being a part of the agriculture was what I wanted to do. Because I wanted to do initially, I wanted to do nurse, become a male nurse.
Right.
A part of the Seventh Adventist Church. I was encouraged by a church sister. Yeah. After I recognized that I left school, I never had enough CXC subjects. I went back to evening class, gathered those few CXCs, and then I was ready to go off to nursing school. I was ready to send in my resume to the requisite institution and stuff like that. But upon visiting my grandfather at the hospital, I didn't know that he possessed so much wisdom. Even though I was around my younger years, going to his farm and knowing, but he has a lot of wisdom that I never knew.
So what kind of wisdom reoriented you from nursing to farming?
Farming. So when I went there to the hospital to visit him, what was another thing that was encouraging me as well to become a nurse was when the nurse that was there was not from Jamaica, it was from an African country. Right. So I was saying to myself that there are so many males in Jamaica, but he was saying to me that predominantly the males say that it's a female occupation, so they really don't really tend towards it. But he's saying to me that, if I take up this occupation, and I will have endless job, and it goes on. But after conversing with my grandfather, he said to me that all my life I've done farming. He said that food is the stuff of life. You can have everything in this world what you want if you give everybody what they want. So I said, Papa, what do you mean by that? I don't really understand. He said, no, you have like a sense, but let me tell you something. He said that everybody needs food to eat.
True.
And if you can provide the food that everybody wants, they will in turn give you the money that you need. I said, him say, look here, even if nobody want, when you farm and plant, food security, even if nobody want buy your produce, you will save yourself of starvation. And the wisdom, keep pumping in and keep coming in. And so after that, he encouraged me and he said, look here, he had built this house out of agriculture. He said, I never took out any loan. I built it from the farming. He does livestock, tree crops and vegetable crop. And he has 11 children. They all go to school and they came out fairly well. Right. So he was saying to me that you can earn a good living. But he said, one thing is, he said, I must be diligent. The same energy and the level that I will put in someone else is someone else's business. I should put that energy because I'm going to be self-employed. Right. So I should be diligent. And him say that I should, wherever I am, I should study and understand the land and the geographical area to where I'm at so that I can be able to fit myself in that area. So if I'm doing the farming in a certain area, I should understand the weather pattern.
Right, know it.
Understand the climatical condition, know what to grow at what time best to grow the crop so that you can be successful.
Let me just jump in here. I love the wisdom that I'm hearing from
Yes.
Grandpa.
Yes.
But what areas of farming are you into?
I'm into onion farming, crop farming right now. Predominantly doing crop farming right now.
Okay.
Yes.
And you mentioned that grandfather said to you that you've been farming all your life.
Yes.
That's accurate?
Yes, definitely.
So, okay, when you did this pivot, I don't have a date for when, but how long have you been on this journey?
I've been in this journey. After I left the hospital, when I came home, there was the initiative of the agro park being established across Jamaica.
Right.
So when I came back home, I was halting between what Grandpa said about agriculture and about nursing, because the two words was staring me in the face, and I didn't know what to do.
Decision time.
So I prayed and I asked the Lord to help me to make the decision.
Yeah.
But as I came back, everything was just off the bat for agriculture, because the initiative of onion production was being led by the Minister of Agriculture. So they keep training at the agro park to train the farmers. So I mean, the pipes are being laid.
Right.
Sessions are being done at the agro park to educate the farmers as to how to grow the onions.
And you're going?
And I'm going, and I'm also attending these training sessions. So everything was just, so I'm starting to learn, because the ministry have persons from all across Jamaica to come to train us and to teach us. I think Dan Logashan was one of those critical persons was leading the onion production. And I was learning so much at the time that I didn't even realize that everything was just leaning towards agriculture. So I start the training, I start the learning. Through RADA, we go through farmer field school. We start to learn about pest and disease management.
Yeah.
We start to learn about land husbandry, how to care for the soil. And
you're doing this while you're farming, or you're learning first?
yeah, I'm learning first. So I'm gaining the knowledge, because I never actually know the technical part of the farming. So I'm getting the technical knowledge now. So whilst that, and everything was happening so fast that by the time I realized I was fully equipped, so I was like an empty sponge, absorbing so much information.
Got it.
Where to apply the good agriculture practice so as to get the end result.
So it's been how many years now?
From 2014 now, so it's about 7-8 years now. About 7 years. Yeah, man.
All right. So my next question on this same line of thought. You went to the training.
Yes.
You start doing this thing.
Yes.
You've been at it for a while.
Yes.
How did you break into the marketplace? How did you establish yourself?
All right. See, that onion is one of those crops that we import a lot. So it's a crop to which when we plant it, there's endless market for it. Because when you think to cook, every Jamaican think to cook, they think of a onion.
True.
So the demand for onion, so we import so much at the market. There's endless market for onion. So no matter how much onion you think you can provide, Jamaicans will consume it.
Right.
So there's already an steady market. So at the time that Spanish Grain was one of those critical company that came over and they bought the onions from us. But to start up was a challenge to start, because at the time we needed the starting capital to achieve the irrigation system,
Right.
the drip hose and tanks, and that's how JSIF, and that's how we get a grant from JSIF. JSIF comes in and they're assisting the farmers, but it was not enough. So therefore we had to seek other financial institution to assist us, and I think the then known PC Bank assisted the farmer during that year.
Okay. All right, well, we're going to pick this back up.
Yes.
Very interesting stuff so far, and inspiring as well. This conversation with Lawrence Lynch, one of Jamaica's successful farmers. We continue our talk after this quick break. Welcome back to Get the Facts. We are discussing the contribution of farmers to the food supply chain. Farmer Lawrence is still with me in the studio. He's been sharing his story. Let's pick up right where we left off. You've been at this for going 7 years.
Yes.
Right? Startup was a bit of a challenge, but
That's right.
you made your way around.
Yes. That's it.
Now, one of the things that I know, people want food, people
Yes.
also want work.
Yes.
And I don't know if Grandpa mentioned that you can also provide for other people and help them to make a life. So where are you now with, in terms of employment? How many people have you taken on this journey with you?
Definitely. My wife is one of the critical person who is active a part and comes on to record keeping and help out with the finance. But we employ, during the onion season, we have 10 permanent workers during the season.
Which season is that?
During the onion season. So,
that's when?
So if the onion season starts from fall, from October to up to March.
Okay.
So
yes.
so we do it seasonal. And after that now we could do other crops like onion, cantaloupe, melon, cantaloupe, cucumbers. We diverse with that. We do the other crops according to our market.
Yeah.
But so onion, trust me, it employs a lot of persons employed. It's mainly women. We depend on money, mainly women. Is a source of employment that we use to assist us with the onion. And trust me, the women they are able to send their children to school, to pay their partners a weekend time.
Yeah.
And trust me, it really elevates and lifts the employment of the country. And you know, at one point, when I look outside, I saw about 15 persons working in the field. And I took my wife, I was looking through the window and I said, babes, look at how many mouths is being fed by the farm.
Wow.
You know, and I see where persons really actually depend on us. Sometimes they call us, ask Mr. Lynch, you have work for us and stuff. Sometimes even though I have to create the work, I create. You know, sometimes I don't have it, but I make space and I make a way for somebody because I know, that and trust me, they help. We cannot do it on ourselves because we do not have enough machinery. But we, as a community, we come together and we make it done. We get it done,
Understood.
And we got our onions on the table. We got melons on the table.
Oh yes. I like to hear how it comes together. It's not just your thing, but it lifts.
It's a lift. It's a family thing and a community effort together.
Wonderful. Now, throughout the interview so far, you have mentioned several agencies and companies.
Yes.
And I want you to just give us an idea of the sort of assistance that you would get from, especially an agency like RADA, because there are farmers who are watching who need to do what you have done.
True. Definitely with RADA being a part of the Yellow Saga Park, matter of fact, from your part of a farming community in Jamaica, RADA is across the entire Jamaica. And so any person can link up with a RADA extension officer or go at the office just to let them know that you are a farmer, you're interested in your farm. And trust me, the knowledge that I have received from RADA,
right,
because the training and the knowledge base that, they have persons who are eligible, persons who have wisdom and they have the knowledge, they know how to advise you. Because with everything that we do, we need to seek the knowledge before we actually go enter into it. Whatever crop, whatever area you're going to do, we seek the knowledge first. So RADA was one of those agencies that equipped me with a lot of knowledge where crop rotation is concerned. How do I identify pests and disease to actually and what is to be applied to prevent or anything curative, so that we can actually have a healthy plant, produce a healthy fruit, so that we can have a healthy, wholesome food.
Well, let me jump in here. How did you access this training and this information?
As I said, one of the things is that the ministry was pushing the information, pushing the initiative of onion. So through that now, I gained this information through it. And also with the onion seed as well too. RADA was able to assist us as farmers with onion seeds.
Right.
Farmers get pesticides, fertilizers. So even though I tell you about starting up, sometimes it can be difficult to start up. But with these grant agencies such as RADA assisting us, it makes life easier and it makes you can get a start in life. It's a kickstart that you get that you get. So it may not be so much as you want to actually plant an acre of land, but the resource that you got or you can be able to start to grow, because it's about growth and development. I started off young with 1 acre of onion. And from 2014, I did 1 acre, then I did 2 acres, then 3 acres, and I did 3.5 acres. So you grow. So it's not a get-rich mentality now, but we grow and we develop over a period of time.
Got you. And you have to be a member of RADA.
Yes, so it is, yeah. So once you're, so it's being a member of RADA, you will get your farmer's ID, and with GIS, you will get the receipt book. So when it's time for you to sell your produce, you have a receipt book to give to those whom you're selling so that they don't have any trouble, because pre-lasting is a real thing and it really affects a lot of farmers. And so with that, we can have the assurance that our produce is coming from somebody who's reputable doing farming and doing agriculture.
Right. I wish I had the time to ask you a bit more about that, but I want to talk about the future. What's next for Lawrence? What's
next for Lawrence? I will continue to plant until I hear a voice said, plant no more.
You're in this for life.
So I'm just in it for life, you know. So I mean, even the growth I'm looking at now, because one of the issue I'm seeing on the ground is that where I was and where I am now and where I'm going, I am talking about production and productivity. As my grandfather said, that food is a staff of life. And one of the things is that the ants is very wise, because the ants have a storehouse.
Yes.
And one of the challenges I see in this sector is that the storage is one of them, is a major challenge. So I am in the process now, in the thought process of creating storage to store the produce so that we can have a longer shelf life, because the glut sometimes in the market really, I mean, too much things waste, and it is hard work to grow tomato, hard work to grow watermelon, and when we have a glut, there's no storage to prolong the shelf life of our crops so that tomorrow we can have storage for tomorrow or for next day.
Understood. You know, you've told us your story. Well, the parts of it that we had the time to go through. You have said a lot of wisdom, and I want you to give some wisdom. Like Grandpa gave you, what would you say to aspiring young farmers who were Lawrence 8 years ago?
8 years ago is that at the end of every occupation, there is a dollar sign. And coming into this sector, coming into farming, we have to have the diligence. We may not have every knowledge, but we will seek the people who have the knowledge so we can gain the knowledge to put in our enterprise, to put in our business. That diligent, that same hard work that you will get up in the morning at 6, prepare your breakfast, and you go after work, that same energy, you put that energy into your business, and trust me, that diligence and that hard work, God will allow you to reap the benefit of that hard work. And I am doing it, and the Lawrence then was a progressive Lawrence, and I am continuing to be progressive, and I'm thanking God for the knowledge, for the wisdom that He has imparted unto me, and for the learned knowledge. My grandfather said that the learned knowledge that we must understand, you know, they said that the experience teaches wisdom. The experience that I have gone through, the ups and downs, yes, I have challenge. Every occupation, everything, we have challenge.
But be diligent.
But be diligent, and we will work with the challenges, and we will thrive, and God will see us through.
Thank you so much. A final word from Farmer Lawrence, and you have given us so much about grants and where to get support and the information, the learned knowledge.
Yes.
I think we can use that term from this conversation. Man, we have gotten an inspiring story, but also some ways in which those who aspire to this area can join as well. Practical information. And this has been Get the Facts. Our guest was Lawrence Lynch, a successful farmer and supplier to Jamaica's food chain, feeder of communities as well. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Take good care.
Our island home is blessed with lush mountains, many rivers and beaches, breathtaking sceneries. Come with us as we explore one of the most stunning places on the island, Westmoreland.
You may know it for its 7 miles of pristine coastline, its unmistakable sunset, or moving houses on trailers. You may see it in the news for its motorcycles, but there's so much more to the island's most westerly parish. We decided to give you a little peek. So come now, come around the bend with us in Westmoreland.
Come and get your fish at the border. We have our nice seafood. We have conch, we have steamed fish, we have bami, we have soup. If you come to the border, believe you me, you will never stop coming to the border.
If you're looking for an in-depth history lesson, you won't find it in this feature. Be sure to head on over to jis.gov.jm for a parish profile. What you'll get though is some good food and some breathtaking sights around these parts. When sugar was king, it was the center of economic life. And it was from these lands that Jamaica's road to independence was paved. Just look up the 1938 riots and the passage of universal adult suffrage in 1944. Up the road and round the bend, you'll find persons who came here to supply manpower. Yes, we're talking about Chinese and Indian indentured servants, and their influences live on. Negril is not the only capital of casual here in Westmoreland. What do you think about Bluefields?
Yeah, you can come and get your fresh fruit in White House.
Come and visit Peter Touch home, Belmont, Westmoreland. We all over there hang out and go and eat fish and ital.
Yeah, and people are coming down at the old wharf near to the front of the MCB bank there. But they move that ship good.
We came further up the hill, round the bend, to a place called Good Hope in Westmoreland, where our locals told us about a great house, right? The Whitehall Great House.
Great House.
This is our tour guide. He's a former worker there, Mr. Seaford Pringle. Right. He was just telling us about the produce that came from there.
Yeah.
You said logwood.
Logwood, pimento.
Pimento.
Yeah.
Seaford, thanks for sharing the great house with us. And see you next time.
You're welcome.
You've seen our mountains, you've seen our springs, you've even seen our rivers. But did you know that we have a blue hole too? We're going to check that out right now. Westmoreland is also home to the Seaford Town German settlement. It's too far up the road for today, but you can visit when you have some time. They have a museum and the people are very warm and welcoming. Just tell them the JIS sent you.
One love, one heart. Come on down to Negril, you're gonna feel alright.
The tour done. I hope you had fun and you learned a little bit more about this western wonderland called Westmoreland.
You did not create me to fear, but you created me to worship daily. So I'ma leave it all right here. Help me say yeah. You did not create me to worry. You did not create me to fear. When you created me, to worry. That's what you made me for, yeah. So I'ma leave it all right here. My hands are raised. Because I surrender. Your will is what's best for me. Oh, I worship you. Because you're Jehovah. You're Jehovah Jireh. The King of Kings. No more crying. No more complaining. I believe your word. I believe your word is true, Lord. You promised never to leave me. So this is what I'm going to do. Yes, I will. I'll trust in you. I will put You did not create me to. You did not create me to fear. You created me to worship you. So I'ma leave it. I'ma leave it all here. My hands are raised. Your will is what's best for me. Because of Jehovah.
We've come to the close of this edition of Jamaica Magazine. Want to rewatch this episode or other content like this? Visit our YouTube channel or website, jis.gov.jm. We would like to hear from you, so our social media pages are available. That's Instagram, Facebook, and of course Twitter. From all of us here at the GIS, have yourselves a peaceful and holy Sunday. I'm Adrian Atkinson. See you next time.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.